Contract Manager, we can keep an accurate log of contracts and contract version histories. The module allows the flexibility to arrange the approval flows with an unlimited number of users and contracts. As eBA provides a digital platform with user-based permissions and positions, the Contract Manager administers security and can furthermore present visual analytics of our archived contracts thanks to its graphical dashboarding. This solution is ready to be linked to any ERP, as we will momentarily demonstrate with the cloud ERP system Acumatica. The benefits of implementing the Contract Manager include having a digital contract library to quickly access any and all contracts. These contracts could either be finished and signed contracts, or be contracts that are currently undergoing the approval process, all within the same corporate memory. eBA will categorize our contracts by important fields of data, such as vendors or departments, making it so that all of the organizational aspects of contract management will be handled automatically by the system. The Contract Manager eliminates the tedious task work of general contract management while yielding improved efficiency and stronger communication. The Contract Manager entails three types of contracts. The approval and archiving signed contracts is a means of digitizing already existing signed contracts for archival and documentation purposes. The control, approval, and signing of a templates contract is a way to prepare a document for approval in a digital environment. This process makes use of a templates documents that can be uploaded and stored in the system of eBA. Otherwise, the creation, control, approval, and signing of a new contract document is the start to finish of a typical contract approval flow, but with the added benefits of rapid communication and recorded authorization. The contents of a contract are simple. We have vendor details, purchasing order details, and contract details. These contents encompass the types of system information that are commonly selected from integrated ERP solutions. Other factors, called penalty and warranty terms, are actionable clauses that can be highlighted in the specifications of a new contract. The following slides present diagrams of example process flows of the Contract Manager. Beginning with the process flow for a signed contract, we initiate the process from the leftmost figure, the flow starter. The contract is sent to the legal department, who is given the decision to either approve the contract or request a revision. In the case of the latter, the contract would return to the flow starter with a reason submitted by the legal department. The flow starter could then choose to follow through with the revisions and send the contract back through the approval process, or they could ultimately cancel the contract if they so determine. This circulation is likewise apparent for the next party in the approval flow, the finance department. By enabling the passing back and forth of a contract, this flow will assure that each party is in the know and aware of the contract's progression. Once fully approved by all parties, the contract will be formulated as a locked PDF, after which it will be stored in eBA's Document Management module, as well as any ERP solution if applicable. Again, eBA is a product that can function on its own, however it can easily be integrated with any ERP or CRM solution. With that said, this completes full circle structure of finalized approval guarantees full visibility of our contracts across both eBA and an available receiving ERP. The templates contract documents flow presented in this next slide introduces a few added mechanics. We've mentioned before how there will be a preparation stage where the flow starter builds a contract based on an existing template uploaded in the system. After the preparation stage, the contract follows a seemingly similar approval flow as the previous. In the best case scenario, the contract will cross the acknowledgement of the head of purchase, the legal department, the finance department, and back to the flow starter upon collective approval. Now the flow starter has an approved contract which he can send out to have signed by internals or external vendors, and finally store it in eBA while sending it to an available receiving ERP. This diagram depicts the new contract documents flow. In contrast to the templates contract documents flow, this process builds a contract to be signed based on an existing draft provided by the flow starter. This design may come in handy for contracts that may include terms outside of the scope of the template stored in the system. Other details in this process, such as approvals and archiving, are consistent with the processes discussed in our previous slides. The Contract Manager is ready to digitize virtually any contract. To show the Contract Manager in action, we will demonstrate the application by following this new contract documents flow. This flow calls for 4 parties. We'll first log into eBA as the flow starter and give a quick tour of the vendor contract management module. Under the menu of Vendor Contract Management, we can maneuver through archives of the contracts reflected in the documentation of the system. We can also search and filter across multiple fields, giving us full flexibility over how we view our contracts. Below that is a more detailed archive for approved and signed contracts. Here is where we find our templates caption map, which serves as a key for the contract templates documents stored on our eBA system. Next, we have the parameters involved in the process. In this example, we will be bringing vendors and purchase orders from Acumatica. There is also a customization map, so you can adjust certain options pertaining to the contract permissions. Okay, now let's begin the new contract document flow. We will be bringing in from Acumatica our vendor Doug Brown & Brothers Incorporated and purchase order number 25. Again, this process will work just the same for any ERP solution system. Now we fill out the profile form with important details such as deadlines with reminders, as well as finances. We have the option to dictate the clauses that come with our contracts. The penalty clause and warranty clause are attributes available for the contract if necessary. We can also add in an explanation for the clause. And after stating the tax amount, we can add our own comments regarding the new contract document. Lastly, we will upload a draft contract for the flow and attach an image. The flow has now been initiated and passed along to the head of purchase, Emily Brown. From the homepage of Emily Brown, we direct ourselves to the form straight from the dashboard. Emily will review the profile and form of the contract and can provide any notes or annotations regarding the draft's contents. Emily clicks on Approve, and the flow continues on to Lily Henderson from the legal department. As Lily looks through the form from her account, she can also see any comments, notes, or annotations from the previous viewers of the contract. Everything looks good to Lily, so she approves and sends the contract to our financial department run by Oliver Carter. Oliver Carter will then have his turn to run through the process. At any time during this flow, a party can send the form back to the flow starter with a reason for review. This ensures the compliance of our final contract. Oliver still approves the contract, and it makes its way back to Anderson. Anderson previews any comments or explanations on his draft, and proceeds to prepare and upload a refined version of the contract for signing. Anderson is now given the capabilities to send the contract to a vendor to sign, as well as the internals. These actions will help mark timestamps of the status change within the flow history. Great, now let's send this contract over to Acumatica. Take note of this contract ID number for verification, 20190116. On Acumatica, if we look into the related files of our vendor, Doug Brown & Brothers Incorporated, we can find both the form and the signed contract associated with our ID. The same goes for when we preview the purchase order number 25 in Acumatica. Our integration with Acumatica was a success, and the information is also stored in the document management module of eBA. Also, we can directly find our approved contracts back at the Archives tab. This amounts to 3 easy points of access for properly prepared and fully digitalized contracts within eBA.